Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping straight in, tackling a concept that really sits behind so much of how we make decisions. I'm talking about everything from, tiny personal choices to big societal policies. The word is utility. And forget just basic usefulness. Our sources show it's this really fascinating, multi-layered idea, way more profound than it looks.
That's exactly right. Our mission here, really, is to unpack the kind of dynamic nature of utility. Because as the material we've looked at shows, the core meaning, it stretches and adapts across really different fields.
Yeah.
You've got the precise world of economics, the really weighty questions in ethics, and even just how we think day to day. It's like this hidden thread,
Okay, so let's lay that groundwork then.
Okay.
When we say utility, at its absolute sort of rock bottom core, what are we actually talking about?
Well, at its very heart, utility is about value, but a specific kind. It's the capacity of something to serve a purpose, provide a benefit, maybe satisfy a desire. It's that sort of inherent quality that makes something useful or helpful. It's kind of the why behind engaging with anything, really.
Right, and that's where it starts to get really interesting because economics grabs that simple idea and, well, builds something pretty complex and powerful with it. How does that work in the economic sphere?
Yeah, in economics, utility basically becomes the foundation for understanding consumer behavior. It's defined as the satisfaction or benefit a consumer actually gets from using a good or service. And this isn't just theoretical. Economists use it to build models, predict choices, understand markets. The whole idea is that you, as a consumer, you're always trying to maximize your own utility. Get the most satisfaction for your buck, essentially.
And when it comes to measuring that satisfaction, I think I remember hearing about cardinal versus ordinal utility. That sounds like a really fundamental difference in how they even think about satisfaction.
Oh, it absolutely was a huge shift. Early economic thinkers with what we call cardinal utility, they genuinely tried to put a number on happiness, almost like saying, this coffee gives me, 7 units of joy. They wanted something measurable, like calories.
Wow. Okay. That sounds difficult.
Exactly. Imagine trying to universally quantify satisfaction. It's just not practical. So modern economics shifted to ordinal utility, which doesn't ask how much more satisfaction you get from, say, an apple than an orange. It just asks that you prefer the apple. It's about ranking preferences. I like A more than B, and that turns out to be surprisingly powerful for understanding markets without needing some kind of, satisfaction-o-meter.
Got it. And tied into that then is marginal utility. That term comes up a lot with consumer behavior. What's that really telling us?
Marginal utility is, it's key to understanding why you buy what you buy and how much. It's the extra satisfaction, the additional bit you get from consuming just one more unit of something.
Ah, okay. Like the classic pizza example.
Exactly like the pizza example. Think about that first slice when you're absolutely starving, massive satisfaction.
Oh, yeah.
But the 10th slice, when you're already feeling pretty full.
Probably zero satisfaction, maybe even negative.
Precisely. That's the principle of diminishing marginal utility. The extra satisfaction from each new unit tends to go down. And this isn't just theory. Companies use this constantly in pricing. It's why you see buy one, get one half off or those bundle deals.
Right.
They're counting on that decreasing marginal utility to nudge you into buying more than you might have otherwise. And just to round that out quickly, there's also total utility. That's just the overall satisfaction from consuming all the units. So even if marginal utility is dropping, total utility usually keeps going up, at least for a while, until you're just completely full or saturated.
Okay, so utility drives market choices, maximizing personal satisfaction. But what happens when satisfaction isn't just about me, but about, what's right for everyone? That's the leap into ethics, isn't it?
Exactly. This is where we run into utilitarianism, which is a really major ethical theory. At its core, utilitarianism argues that the morally best action is the one that maximizes overall utility, usually defined as the greatest happiness or well-being for the greatest number of people. It's a type of consequentialism. That means the morality of an action. It's judged only by its results, its consequences.
So the outcome is everything.
Pretty much. If a decision leads to more overall good than harm for the group, then a utilitarian would likely say it's the ethical choice, even if the intention wasn't purely altruistic. Think about building a new hospital. It might displace some people, cause some disruption, but if it improves healthcare and saves lives for thousands more,
the overall utility calculation might favor building it.
That's the utilitarian argument, yes. The net increase in well-being is the goal.
That sounds like a really practical framework, especially for big policy decisions. But is it just one single idea, or are there different flavors of utilitarianism?
No, there are definitely variations. The sources we looked at point out two main types: act utilitarianism and rule utilitarianism. Act utilitarianism looks at each individual action. In any specific situation, you ask, which choice right now produces the best consequences?
Okay.
Rule utilitarianism takes a step back. It asks, what general rules, if everyone followed them, would lead to the greatest overall good in the long run?
Ah, so it's action versus rule, like telling a white lie.
Exactly. An act utilitarian might say, okay, lying in this specific case prevents harm and creates more happiness, so it's okay. A rule utilitarian might argue, well, what if everyone lied whenever they thought it was beneficial? Would a general rule permitting lying lead to more overall trust and happiness, or less? They'd probably say less, so the rule should be don't lie.
That's a really crucial distinction. But, aiming for the greatest good sounds so positive. Are there major criticisms or, tricky problems when you actually try to use this framework?
Oh, absolutely. It sounds noble, but utilitarianism gets hit with some pretty significant critiques. A big one is just the sheer difficulty of predicting all the consequences. How can you possibly know all the ripple effects, especially long-term ones? It's incredibly complex.
Yeah, that seems almost impossible sometimes.
Right. And another major issue, a really thorny one, is the potential to sacrifice individual rights or the interests of a minority for the sake of the majority's happiness. If maximizing overall good means, say, unfairly disadvantaging a small group, utilitarianism might seem to justify that, which raises huge questions about justice and fairness.
That's the classic critique, isn't it? The tyranny of the majority.
Precisely. But despite these challenges, it's still a really powerful and influential way to think about ethical decisions, particularly when you're dealing with collective well-being, like in public health or resource allocation.
Okay, so we've tracked utility from abstract economic models through to these deep ethical debates. But what about just us in our normal lives? Where does utility pop up day to day outside of textbooks?
Well, this is where it becomes maybe most intuitive for you listening. In everyday language, when we say something has utility, we just mean it's useful, it's helpful, it's the practical side of things. Think about why you pick one tool over another or why you organize your kitchen a certain way. It's often about the utility, what works best, what makes things easier.
Can you give us some maybe less obvious examples beyond just, a hammer being useful for hitting nails? How does it shape our subtle choices?
Sure. Think about the utility of, say, a smartphone app. Its basic function might be navigation, but its total utility might include how easy it is to use, how much time it saves you compared to looking at a map, maybe the traffic updates give you peace of mind.
Right, it's more than just the one function.
Exactly. Or consider choosing to take public transport instead of driving. The utility isn't just getting from A to B. It might include saving money on gas and parking, maybe reducing stress from traffic, feeling better about your environmental impact, or even just having time to read. We're constantly doing these little utility calculations, often without even realizing it.
Like when you spend ages researching a new laptop.
Perfect example. You're meticulously weighing the utility of the screen size versus the battery life versus the processing power versus the price. You're optimizing utility, even if you don't use that word. It's this ongoing, often subconscious process of assessing, how useful things are, trying to solve problems efficiently, get the most out of our effort. It's fundamental to how we just operate.
Wow, what a journey that's been. It really is amazing how this one word, utility, something we might have just thought meant useful, actually ties together how you choose your groceries, how companies price things, and how societies wrestle with huge moral questions. It's not just some abstract concept.
Yeah.
It feels like a hidden force shaping decisions everywhere.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how understanding this multifaceted idea of utility can actually shift your perspective, how you look at your own decisions, what you value, how useful you think things are. It kind of begs the question, doesn't it, for you listening? How often in your own life are you really consciously or even unconsciously weighing up the utility of what you do, the choices you make, not just what they achieve on the surface, but what deeper purpose or satisfaction they bring?
Yeah, exactly. So what's the big takeaway here for you? Maybe it's just a reminder that even simple words hold these deep connections that help us make sense of the world and our own place in it. Perhaps it pushes you to think a bit more about the utility in that broad sense of your own actions and choices, seeing it not just as a definition, but maybe as a lens to understand yourself and the world just a little bit better.